What up, what up? Happy Friday. Hope you guys are well. In this video, I want to talk about how to identify unique business opportunities here in Africa before everybody else, gets that information. So you can move quickly, execute quickly before everybody else. The thing with Africa is this. The opportunities that will get you to the next level, that will get you to generational wealth level, those opportunities, they come with access to information that is exclusive to certain people. Whether it's already wealthy businessmen, already wealthy politicians. Some of these circles you can't really get into like that. Because you don't know these people and they don't know you. It's like anything else. Picture a group of people that have known each other for 30, 40 years, 20 years even. And they all hang out, they all trust each other. It's going to be quite difficult, you as a newbie, as a fresh face, to come in there and get the information from these guys that you can execute on. There's something about having exclusive information that is different. This is anywhere. There's probably somebody who was friends with, let's say, Donald Trump's son. Maybe they went to school together and they were cool. And then because Donald Trump is the president now, he got into that circle through Donald Trump's son, or sons, or family. It's all about your network. Your net worth, if you heard of this, your net worth is based on your network. Your network dictates your net worth. There are people that were in that circle, the Trump circle probably. I'm using this as an example because that's the market that I know very well. There's a whole community that was close to the Trump family that knew he was going to win the presidency. And then they came in and they overheard that maybe Donald Trump Jr. was trying to start his own crypto coin. And then maybe all they had to do was invest 10 grand into it. In the early ground. And then, as soon as Trump got inaugurated, that coin shot up 100x. So that 10 grand that they put in shot up 100 times to like 1 million. These are kind of crazy stories that are happening in the United States, especially when it comes to crypto. The point I'm trying to explain to you is that Africa also operates in much of the same way, in a similar fashion. You can come into this market, not have that much money. You might have 10, 20,000, 15 grand. But if you know how to move in the right circles, acquire the right information, it'll change your life. It'll change your life. This is why I keep saying there's a major misconception that you need like to have saved $1 million, $500,000, 100,000 to make money here in Africa. No, not necessarily. It'll be nice to have 100 grand. It'll be nice. It'll make your life easier. But what's better than having cash is having access. That's worth more than anything. And when I say access to information, this is information you cannot Google it. You cannot get it on ChatGPT. Because at the end of the day, ChatGPT and Google are all depending on people to put this information online anyway. And then AI aggregates all this information and makes it easy for you to access. That's really what AI is there for. It helps you to organize all this information and make it all make sense. But let's say, for example, today I get the piece of information. By the time that information gets online, it'll be 2 days or even a week. And then maybe after that week, somebody finds it, they're able to take action based on that information. There's so much exclusive information that powerful people here in Africa get access to that completely change their lives. For example, if you look at how let's say, a lot of these like powerful people get rich. The way they get rich is because maybe somebody told them to buy a piece of land in a neighborhood or an area that was going to be up and coming, because there was a bunch of Chinese people that were looking to develop a mall in that area. So they probably purchased that land for like $5,000. Or because they heard it from their cousin or somebody they worked with in a powerful position. So now, when the mall gets built by the Chinese, that investment of 5,000 is worth 10 times, worth 50 grand. This is how people make wealth overnight, seemingly overnight. This is how you can come into this market as well. If you don't have a whole lot of money, but if you're ready to hustle. What I mean by hustle is you're ready to put the work in, the grind. Because in order for you to get to that access, you need to be able to be a person that is ready to grind, different. Your grind has to be so different. When everybody else is operating on like a 7 or 8, you're operating at a 12 or 15, guys. 12 or 15. You need to pull up somewhere and then people come be like, damn it, who's this guy? Who's this lady? Who is she? Who is he? How dare he? How dare her? What's her problem coming over here and applying pressure on us like this? You have to apply so much pressure. And again, I keep saying this, and I've said this in my other video. Pressure does not mean you're coming in here and you're flexing like material things. No. You don't want people knowing what you got like that. You don't want too many people knowing what you have. Because if people know what you have, they're going to be sniffing around asking you for stuff. And that gets exhausting. You don't want people asking you for anything. You want people to assume you don't have it like that. But you're on your way up. You're on the come up. Little do they know you're already up. So, here are 3 suggestions that I have in order for you to access good information, exclusive information, so you can be able to take action on that information quickly and build generational wealth. Number 1, you need to start tracking the movement of these leaders that are in the countries of your choice where you're doing business. For example, I do business here in Africa, mainly in 3 African countries that I've chosen. What I do is I track every time the president of those countries goes to Europe, US, or China. And based on those movements, I make sure everything that is published on national TV and the news, I get access to that information. I read up on it. And number 2, I use ChatGPT to organize all of that information after the fact. So let's say, for example, the president of, let's say, Tanzania, which is the country that I'm in right now. Let's say she goes to China and she's meeting up with the leader of China and everything, shaking hands. For most people, they just see the shaking of hands on all the political theater. But me, I see money. I see the president here negotiating trade deals with the Chinese. I want to know what kind of trade deals she's negotiating for Tanzania. Because ultimately, her goal is to make sure the money flows here in Tanzania and then generates tax revenue so they can get paid. At the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal. So while you guys are wasting your time trying to figure out who's who, what are they doing wrong, don't worry about that. Don't worry about what they're doing wrong. Just worry about how you're going to benefit from the moves, chess moves that they're making. This is the other thing that I always encourage people not to do when you come to Africa. Don't be talking about people like that. Don't talk about people, especially if they're powerful. Don't talk about rich people. Rich and powerful people, stay away from yapping about them, especially in a negative light. Let them do what they want to do. But what you got to do is you got to study the game and play the chess game to the best of your ability. Because at the end of the day, they're playing chess moves. While you're yapping about these people, they didn't even know you exist at the end of the day. They don't care that you exist. So don't worry about what they're doing. You just do your work, put the work in, and pay your taxes. And then you will be able to survive and live in peace. Because ultimately, everybody wants peace. That's the ultimate goal anyway, to make money so you can live in peace, quiet, and freedom. So when you're talking about other people, you're inviting problems into your life. So don't do that. Focus on the money. So when you're tracking these leaders as they're traveling, let's say the leader goes to China and strikes up a trade deal, make sure you identify some of the people, entourage, that is going to those places like China, US, or Europe with those leaders. Who are these people? Who is that guy? Who is that lady that's accompanying the president? Can I do my research on them? Are they the minister of mining? Are they minister of, I don't know, whatever. Are they minister? Who are they? Maybe they're the big shot businessman in the country. What are they into? If, let's say the president is going to China with a prominent businessman in the country of your choice who's into, let's say, manufacturing, ask yourself, why is he going with the president over there? There's something. It must be they're trying to negotiate to lower tariffs so that they can make more money in the exports that they're going to be exporting of the final products to China. And then also investigate what kind of products are they manufacturing. Is it clothes, final produce food products? What is it? Are they a farmer maybe? Are they a commercial farmer? Do they farm soybeans? If they do farm soybeans, the Chinese already love soybeans. Go look up on ChatGPT, what is the tariffs situation for soybeans? Like, this new economy requires you to be a deep thinker, guys. You need to be isolating yourself and do your deep thinking. Now with ChatGPT and AI, you can do these things. It's much easier than ever. There's way too much information right now on YouTube about how to get into business, how to make money. All you got to do now is leverage all that information plus ChatGPT and use your brain. Use your brain. Figure out how to solve problems. Third point. So I said number 1, track the world leader movements. Number 2, I said leverage ChatGPT to make sense of all that information. Number 3 is network minimally. Let me explain what I mean. Some of the people that you'll be competing with on a business side of things here in Africa, they're kind of old school guys. They're OGs. These guys are in the 50s, 60s. They're used to networking in an old school way. Meaning, they're going to spend so much time going to certain places, drinking, linking up with other people, and then talking. There's a whole lot of talking. I think if you want to be competitive, do less of that. Always do less of what everybody else is doing. And then find a blind spot. Here's the blind spot. The blind spot is that a lot of these OGs are not up on ChatGPT like that. They're not up on technology like that. Hell, most of them, the most they're doing is consuming CNN, BBC, and Al Jazeera, and maybe like some Russian news or Chinese news, maybe, on satellite, and then local news. So the local news is KBC or Kenyans or KTN. That's what they're consuming. But you can access information on YouTube now. They're content creators out of China. They're content creators out of Africa here like myself that are giving you additional value, additional information to get you to the next level. That's the blind spot right there. So instead of you going out there and meeting people and networking, 90% of these people we are networking with are completely useless. Only about 10% of people that you're networking with are actually valuable. So why are you wasting time on, it doesn't make any, the ratio doesn't make any sense. So instead, flip that. Spend 90% of your time isolated and consuming information and making sense of that information using AI. And then the 10%, networking in person. And when you're doing networking in person, you're not networking where everybody else is at. No, man. No. It doesn't work like that. Everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold to. The worst thing I've seen when people are trying to network is they're trying to get it up in somebody's face like that. A lot of these people, especially with money and power, they don't like it in your face like that. They don't like it. They want to do their approaching. They want to do the chasing. So what you got to do is you got to be peacocking. This is why I keep telling you, in this new era, you have to invest more in yourself than in material things in the initial stage. When you're building, invest more in yourself than on that car, because that decision maker does not care if you got a Benz, because he probably got 10 Benzes. He doesn't care if he got a Range Rover. He's probably got 10, 20 Range Rovers, or he can afford 10, 20 Range Rovers. What he wants to know is that, are you a stand-up person? Can we trust you? Are you a stand-up person? Can we trust you? That's really what they want to know before they bet on you. 90% of communication is nonverbal. So you need to apply so much pressure when you're out there, to the point where they're very curious to know who is this person with the audacity to show up and apply pressure like this. There's so many cool spots. I don't know if I can say this, but I'll just say it. There's so many cool spots that you can go to, and you can meet, really prominent, powerful, wealthy people. But not be up in their face like that. No. I won't mention the spot, but there was a time, this was in Nairobi, Kenya, by the way. There was a time where I went to this bar. And I thought it was just a regular bar. It looks like a 1980s bar. So I was just chilling over there in this 1980s bar. Just minding my own business, of course, with my peoples. Just having my Jack, my thing is I do Jack and Coke. No, straight Jack, no Coke. Because I don't want sugar in there, it's already bad enough. So I do my double Jack, and I just sip it slow, and then don't put too much sugar in there. So no soda. And then this really, powerful, prominent politician walks in with the Secret Service and everything. Man. And nobody else was in that bar. It was just me, my two other peoples, and him and his Secret Service, his bodyguards. They pull up, and I got so much respect for this guy to this day. And again, I won't mention his name, because a lot of these people, they don't want you to know. They don't want people to know their business like that. So he walks in, and he's a regular dude. So I see him, like, oh. So me, I'm like starstruck, right? Because so I'm sitting right here, and he literally walks past me like this. I had to say hi. So I was like, hey, I show my respects and everything. I'm like, yeah, it's an honor to meet you and everything. Listen. What I'm saying is, for him to even just shake my hand like that, in a place like that, it meant that I didn't come off as a threat to the situation. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That I was applying so much pressure that day that I didn't come off as a threat. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys, not everybody, of course, I don't want to insult everybody. A lot of you guys, you come off as sloppy, you come off as disorganized, disheveled, Even though you got a little bit of cash, it's holding you back from getting to the next level. It's holding you back from networking. If I wanted to, right, if the conditions were appropriate at the time, and the conditions were not appropriate at the time because the guy looked like he wanted to take care of some business. He was kind of in a rush. But I'm willing to bet if I wanted to, or if he was in a better mood that day, if he was in a good mood, we could have sparked up a conversation maybe 30, 40 minutes. He would have given me some serious game. Some serious game that he wouldn't have given everybody else. Because people will read you and your first impressions are everything. And if your first impressions are everything, it means that they're going to judge you based on that first impression. It's just human nature. 90% of communication is nonverbal. So they're going to look you up and down. I'm sure his Secret Service looked me up and down like, okay, this guy's not a threat. Those guys are trained killers. If you come up with somebody that's like, too panicky like that, hey, Kijana. This is what they say in Nairobi. Hey, Kijana, where are Kijana? Then you gotta back up and like, hey, I'm no threat. What I'm saying is you gotta be able to network minimally like that. Not all be everywhere like that, just being seen everywhere. Because a lot of these rich and powerful people move in tight circles. And if they know that you are somebody that's always everywhere, all up in everybody's business, all up in the scene like that, everywhere like that, they're not gonna take you seriously. Because the way these guys move, they know they got a bunch of enemies. If you got money and you got power, it's guaranteed you got enemies. Guaranteed. So they need to make sure that before they even allow you in their space, you got to move correct. And they'll study you. And then when you're able to network minimally, I did a video separately on how to network here in Africa. You got to go to exclusive places. Places where people don't go. Like 5-star hotel lobbies, 5-star hotel restaurants, not the club. Not the fancy, most popular lounge. See, I met this really powerful, wealthy businessman in some regular 1980s looking bar that nobody else knows. It's not even fancy like that. In fact, the TV that they had on the wall is still the 90s TV with the big head in the back. So it's not a flat screen. Because this guy is still OG, he's old school. This guy's worth millions. When you're networking, when you're doing business here in Africa, you got to do things differently. Don't think you're going to come over here and start doing things like everybody else is doing. Because majority of these people, especially all these networking places that you're going to, they don't have money like that. They don't have real money like that. So think about how you move. Because the game is different here and also in America at certain levels. Now, if you want to just network, for the sake of networking at a certain level, maybe you're just trying to be friends, I'm not discouraging that. Because sometimes the journey of entrepreneurship, it gets lonely. So sometimes you want to connect with people that are going through what you're going through. But at the same time, you also want to connect with people that will put you on. I've gotten so much information, good information, quality information, through these tactics, where somebody will tell me about a certain area because they overheard somebody who's a decision maker talking about they just signed a deal to develop a certain area. And I'm given that information and I'm told, okay, if you put in 10 grand into this plot over here, this area is about to blow up. This is how a bunch of people get rich over here. Especially with purchasing land here in Africa, because there aren't too many instruments to invest your money in that are, solid like that. And I'm going to talk about another opportunity that I think you guys should consider when it comes to investing. But if you're ready to, I'll do that in a separate video. But if you're ready to work with the best, and you understand all these things that I'm talking about here, how to identify new opportunities that are exclusive, these 3 ways, if you're ready to get yourself to the next level and focus on building generational wealth, schedule time. This will be a paid consultation. This means that I'll put you on some game. We can talk about some of the niches. We're going to talk about some of the countries you're considering. And we're going to talk about how to get you to brand your business. Because at the end of the day, if your business is not on here, it doesn't really exist. If nobody can see it on socials, it doesn't exist like that. The game is cold. Schedule time. Talk to you soon.